Hi guys, Dorota International, nail artist and educator here. So I just want to actually show you those nails before I start doing my magic on it, because they are quite wrecked. So yeah, like lots of work on it, and I will do 8 nails probably on my own, show you 2 of them and then the design. And I hope you will really enjoy it. So let's start. Okay, so we are halfway. Now I left those 2 nails to show you how I sculpt them and tidy up the cuticles, because you could see the stage of those nails before, and then we will move on into those pretty designs. So first of all, we need to push them back, and actually the 2 nails I have left, I would say they are probably the nicest condition compared to the other ones. So there is quite a lot of stuff to come off, and then blue scrap to dehydrate the nail plate. So nice and squeaky clean. Nice and squeaky clean. My client don't like the squeaky clean. And then we are gonna tidy up the cuticles on the one side. So one side, make sure everything is removed from the nail plate. You don't want anything on the nail plate. We want those nails to last nice and long time. Put it back into the reverse, and then we are tidy up the other side. So basically this is exactly the same like I did it with the nails which are ready. And then do the other side. Now with this client there is a decent difference in between the sizes of the hands, so I'm always trying to kind of balance that out and like make it as even as possible. Now my next stage is to trim just a little bit of the cuticle. So just a first stage of cleaning, just the biggest excess. And then we are gonna prep the natural nail. So I need to shape the free edge and remove the shine from the natural nail, like making sure there is no shiny places. Nice and gentle. And quite often I like to go like that way with the file. Now there is a little bit of a few holes from, I think the client removed the nails itself. So we are just making sure there is no shiny places left, but I cannot file it. So this is a guys really good thing for you. I'm going to show you that. So you can see it here, here and here and here. The nail plate is overfiled, so I cannot just file like this, because I would file away the healthy nail plate. What I'm doing is I'm angling the corner, like working with the corner of the file, just to scratch those surface only in the places where it's still shiny. Okay, and then do the same on the other hand. So same, you can see it, there is quite a lot of redness and almost like a wee holes on this nail plate. I would scratch the entire surface, but again the nail file wouldn't take all of it, so I'll have to work with the corner just to reach those places. Okay, give it a couple scratches, and then with the corner of the file I'm just trying to reach those overfiled places. Sometimes for a gel polish application I might actually even don't touch those places, because obviously you don't want to overfile it further. Remove the dust. Blue scrap to dehydrate the nail plate again. And then we are gonna grab the sculpting forms, so that's the forms I'm using, and apply them underneath. I like to pre-prep them before going on the client's fingers, and this is my way of applying the forms. So I would always go like this, close it on the back, make sure it's nice and even, go behind the client. Sometimes it is quite difficult for me when I've got the camera, because the camera is just on front of my nose, and then slide the form underneath and start closing it. This one I'm trying to pinch as much as possible, and then doing exactly the same on the other hand. We are quite tight with the view. Multitasking as usual. Okay, so pre-close the form and then go behind it. Find the sweet point in the middle, and then start closing the form. And this form I cannot close that much because this finger is slimmer. So I'm not closing it this strong. I don't want to pinch it as much. And then this one, I might actually even trim the form. Just to be able to pinch it. I should do that a little bit before, but this place is crucial one. Okay, I'm happy with this one. I should get a really nice shape. So an extra nail prep. I'm just gonna pull client closer to the camera. Wait for it a couple seconds to dry. And then we are gonna apply Universal Air Bond. No, come on. Universal Air Bond. And we are gonna use a perfect rose just because there is gonna be some nail plate which is visible. And in that case, I like to use this one because it has a little bit more of the coverage. It's still very natural looking gel. Grab my gel brush. So, there we are. Nice and thin layer, like remove the product from the brush. And then build up the free edge. We don't go too long, like S.5. I mean, it's still almost 100% of the nail bed extension, which means it is quite long. Cook it, and then do it on the other one. My client went wrong with their hands because this hand is leaning on their other one, so I need to swap it. Perfect. Otherwise, I'm feeling the weight and the hand is not going to be nice and straight, and I do not have a flexibility of moving the finger. So again, remove the product, go everywhere nice and thin. Pick up a small scoop to build up the free edge. And when I'm building the free edge, I'm starting like a little bit at the free edge. Like so here I've got a tiny bit more product. In case like they bang the form, or like when I'm pulling the form, I want to have a little bit more product in there at the stress point. Gosh, this nail is so much slimmer compared to the other one. Show you the side view. Perfect change. Then another scoop. So again, remove this excess and apply it nice and thin layer through the entire length. And this gives me enough product around the cuticle area. And then I'm picking up the scoop of the product. Try to do it on the one side of the brush. And then we are gonna build up the apex. So I released it from my brush and then build up the apex. Going one side, other side, one side, other side. I show you the side view as well. So I'm always trying to kind of make sure it goes nice and straight. I'm missing a drop of the product in that corner. Change. And then do the same in here. So again, thin layer through the entire surface. Nice and thin. And now I'm just gonna build up the apex again. So a large scoop of the product, get it rid of your, like from your brush. I usually do it those 2-3 movements, like so it's kind of detached from the brush. And then ideally you want to use the client finger as well. Look what I'm doing. So I'm not only working with my brush, but I'm also working with the client finger to help it. You can also pull it down like that way, so the gravity helps you get the product where you want. And you don't want to touch it too much in this part, like you don't want to do it too much movement in this part, because then you're giving yourself much more filing. You can see the gel starts self-leveling and the line is much neater. Obviously it also becomes more bulkier as well. So let's cure it. Perfect, so that's the first one ready. And when you pull down the form, like make sure, like, no, when you remove the form, make sure you pull it down the way, just so it's easier. Now, look what the client did. So they pulled these fingers down, and let me work on that finger. I don't like those kind of position because then I can shape it wonky. Ideally, I want all the hand to be nice and relaxed, because otherwise they might put it into the wrong directions. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm filing one side and other side almost into a triangle shape, like, because we want to do a nice coffin shape. Shorten the free edge, and you can see it from the top. It doesn't look too bad already. We need to taper it because that finger is bigger. Lifted it up, then blend everything around the cuticle area. So this is my usual filing technique. Blend it all. And then start smoothing out the entire surface. Check a client view, so quite often I would go that direction and I would check the client view. I can taper this side a little bit more. Lift the nail up so you can see the thickness of the nail, and I want the free edge to be a credit card thickness. So all the bulk of the product is here, but the free edge is really nice and thin. And I'm just doing exactly the same on the other hand. So pull this form down, clean the mess which we did, remove the inhibition layer, and look, it looks quite messy to start with, like, you know, but when we start shaping, it doesn't take this long because those parts are very thin. So I'm only applying the product thicker at the apex area and not too thick on the other places. Shorten it and taper more. And each time when you file the side, you need to kind of lift the product up, like that way. There we are. Try to also don't file too long in one place. Like, what I mean by that is if you start filing too long in one place, and because the other place isn't done properly, it can give you a fake illusion. So I quite often would jump out, like, first of all, like, you know, do my frame, and then I might touch up the free edge again, and then go back to my frame, thin out the free edge. There is also lots of videos, guys, if this is one of the first video you're watching, where I'm doing like the entire set on the client, where we're doing real time, like 10 nails as well. So I do lots of different types of the videos, and this one, because we want to have a wee chat with the client, I did just those 2 sculpting nails, but it's just this exactly the same. I did it on the previous ones, and then we will do the design on the rest. So what I did now is, because there is this difference in a size, I'm trying to kind of balance it out like as much as possible. So I'm kind of checking both of those nails at the same time. Okay, check the client view again. Compare it to the other fingers as well. You guys probably don't see it in the camera, but I'm quite happy with it, except the fact that this one is a bit wonky. There we are. Go back to this one. Now my next step is to grab the buffer and just smooth out the entire surface. Brush away any dust particles, blend everything around this cuticle area. Nice, good blend. And I love this buffer. Also the gel which we used was perfect rose, and We do post internationally. Absolutely amazing gel, which I use constantly. And on this client, it can actually last ages, even if her nails were. She comes to me once sometimes, like mainly for like wee holidays or special occasions, and those nails always last ages on that client. Okay, my next step is, because you could see like the stage of the nail folds and the cuticle was actually heart attack almost when we saw them. I'm gonna use a wee bit as well to clean the nail folds, and we are gonna do quite nice and decent clean. I mean, obviously don't overdo it again, but one side first, exfoliate it really nice and properly. Put it back into the reverse and then do the other side. And then on that one, that's a nice exfoliation here. And then I can easily trim all that. Okay, so my next step would be to go back to the cuticle nipper and just touch up more. So what I like to do it is with my glove, I like to kind of go and really check it what is dry, like, because this part is all dry, so I'm not gonna touch it, because once we wash the hands, this will be gone. And I know things looks really ugly in the camera at that stage, but I'm not touching those kind of parts. But this one we have nicely exfoliated, and before it was pretty risky to trim it, but after we have applied the extension and we have finished the filing, it's more almost visible what you can remove safely. Okay, and then those parts is a really dry part, so I'm not gonna touch it, because once we finish and wash the hands, it will be all gone. The size difference still bother me, but this is how close we could go. So let's move and clean those nails, and then we can do the design. So clean it, all of it nicely. And when I clean it, I can see I've got uneven surface here. I'm just gonna go like this to touch it up. Perfect. Otherwise it will later on bother me. Okay, time for the design. So I give this hand back to the client so it doesn't disturb me. I clean the biggest excess of the dust, and then these parts which we have used for from the forms, I like to keep it there and to use it like for my design. White gel, and this one is mixed with the pink, and that was 338, number 238, yeah. And I've got some white here as well. Plus I'm gonna use 259, and that is paradise. Just because they are holiday nails. So I'm just picking up the scoop. Actually, I have my mixture here. No, I will do it. No, so I did it for the previous nails. This is how my mixing palette looks, and I'm just gonna keep it here so I can kind of mix the same colors. Then we are gonna take a D-liner brush and start the fun. Okay, so the first one is I have used this color. So I use this color with some white. Okay, so grab white and mix it, maybe even a little bit more. That's a perfect color match, I believe. Let me see it. So grab the brush. Yes, we are brilliant, spot on. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm painting on the one side. And doing a wee line. There we are. Making sure we are still in camera. Pick up another scoop. Remove the excess, like almost keep the brush nice and straight so I can reach this point nicely. This wasn't enough, so do it again. Then add the angle. And my client wanted pretty simple holiday nails. They are simple. I mean, we could paint a Cleopatra on it. Okay, and then let's cook it. Do the same on the other hand. And look, that I can just place the client hand at any angle I need to. And because we are covering the things with the flowers and some foils, you don't have to be like an extremely precise. I also like to do it like a one thing at a time. Cook. So what I mean by that is like I didn't paint it all of it, like, you know, like all different colors, because it saves me a time to actually swap the hands. So now I can clean my brush and I can go on into the other color. So my other color is just a plain, the one which I've got already mixed in here. And then we are gonna do wee line. And this wee line, like, give it like, I don't know, 2 millimeters away from the previous one. Change. Okay, now the same on the other one. And because I like to paint it at the angle, like I need to keep the client hand like this to be able to do so. And also lower my chair because my arm cannot pull it that direction. And this is what I keep telling you, that you can actually play with the client hand any way you need it. Like I kind of almost push her finger away. Can you see it, me moving her hand? So I'm kind of working both brush and the finger. It's faster that way. Perfect change. Okay, next thing. So we need to color in. Let me just clean up a little bit, because I don't want to imagine, like when you've got so much mess, it is very easy to get dirty, like your clothes and other stuff. Now I did add it white into those Paradise. I actually like this name so much. And I'm doing a color match to this one, a bit darker. There we are. Now the fun is to, there we are, I need to have the movement in there. So again, I move my client hand, clean up the brush, and then we are gonna paint another line. Just like this, and then color it in. Pull the nail folds down, like down, up, like away. Check if we're still in camera. There was a bit of the hole, a pitting hole. So that was created due, when I applied the gel, the air bubble got in there. And it creates a hole. If they are quite large and this part isn't gonna be painted, I suggest you kind of fill it up with the base gel or a top coat and then rebuff it. So quiet. Change. Okay, then on the other side, just the same. What I did is I push back gently the cuticles just to make my life easier. Again, we are gonna go at the angle, so my hand can pull it. and then color it in. Touch it up. Check if we're still in camera. And once we finish and I clean up those hands, I want you guys actually to go back and check how they were looking before we start, because I think we managed to get quite a nice transformation. Now, in some parts you can see, so first of all, because I'm doing it on the one layer, like some in some parts you see me touching it up like twice, I'm gonna touch it up here, because this is a part which is gonna be visible, but I'm not bothered close to the edge because it's gonna be hidden. Change. You have to make sure the product is cured properly for the next step, because I'm gonna use UV cleanser to remove the inhibition layer. And if your product isn't cured properly, you are gonna have like, you are gonna remove it. Then the transfer foil gel glue, a small scoop of it, G-liner brush again, clean it up, and then we are gonna do like a wee wavy line. So just whatever, like, you know, nice and messy. Change. Do the same in here. So UV cleanser, do not use blue scrap for that. Like blue scrap would be too strong and it could take off too much of your gel. That's why I'm always doing it with the UV cleanser. You could also see it on my brush. My brush starts becoming milky. That's why I did clean it. And this is something I keep repeating to you. That's when we're swapping the products, your bristles from the brush still have lots of old product inside it, like, you know, inside the bristles. So when I'm swapping the colors, I like to give it a good clean before. Now here I did too much product, so I'm just brushing away the excess of it. There we are. Change. And for this gel, the curing isn't really matter that much. It takes the foil like extremely well. So whatever, if you, I mean, it has to be properly cured, so a minimum 30 seconds. But if you cook it 30, 40, 1 minute, it's still gonna work absolutely brilliant. I cut a small piece of the gold transfer foil, and then I'm just gonna touch it up, just like this. And we get a wee messy gold line. I think the gold looks so pretty against with the pink, and my client is going to Egypt, so the gold is definitely the color to go for it. That's why I've got some gold nails too, because we're going together. I cannot wait, like, so much. I cannot wait. So we will be definitely doing a photo shoot, like with pyramids. And is it pyramids, the same name like in English? Yeah, honestly, I cannot wait. They actually look even just nice, just the way they are. No, we're going like We're doing flowers, I take the other hand. The client says like, I mean, I could do it maybe in the middle finger only flowers, and that would still go with the design which we choose.
Yes.
Yes. And keep the other two empty. Or should we do it on all of them? My original plan was to do the flowers on all of them, but now my client is like showing me with the head like, which means she wants to keep them empty. So I might let her decide. I had actually dilemma because I was thinking about maybe pink and gold for my nails as well, like on pink and gold marble. But then, yeah, they actually look cute like that as well. But we need to, now because, so normally when I'm doing the design, I would put it on those two fingers, or I would put it on a ring finger and a thumb, or I would do it on those two fingers. Now, because we have done it pinky and a thumb with the design, the only option is to put the design on this one and keep those two empty, otherwise it will look silly. I cannot do it like this, 2, 3, and then this two empty. So we're doing flowers and the middle finger. Perfect, I grab your other hand. We do agree. So to do the flowers, we are gonna do just like a wee small yellow dot and yellow dot. And then I need to cook it, so change the hands. And then we are gonna do it the same in here. So yellow dot, nice yellow dot, and another dot. Change. Again, I like to do it at a little, like do it one thing and then cure it. Just so I don't kind of make a mistake. No, not make a mistake, but like the gel doesn't smudge into each other. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So to start with, I usually make them like tiny, and I touch them up. Change, but they are very simple kind of flowers. Okay, and now I can see it. I've got bigger gap in here, so I can place it at more there, this one more into that side, and then this one more that way to even them out. So this is a good way for some, sorry guys, I'm holding my breath, so sometimes it's difficult to talk and do the things. But this is a good way for someone to imagine where the petals are gonna be like, and then you can improve the shape of them. Perfect, swap. Time for top coat, so we are just gonna grab our High Shine No Wipe Top Gel. High Shine. And then, yeah, you sure? Like just, yeah, just checking. Believe or not, guys, the client which I'm working on, she's a friend, like she speaks Polish, but she's the most chatty girl, and when we're recording, she's just in complete silence, and her mouth never shut. That's why we decided to record it like, spend half time together, and chat about different random things, and then spend other half on recording. Now, I like to apply always a decent amount of the top coat, and for that reason, quite often I might do it like 1 or 2 fingers only, and then freeze the product. And this is what I'm gonna do it. Change. At the same time, save the time, so, and don't risking like making yourself really dirty. I did remove those piece of paper with the gel polishes. Check how the light reflects change. Again, check how the light reflects change. I think they are super cute holiday nails. And very simple, not over the top. Now on the middle finger, I have noticed that the gel polish is a little bit uneven at the free edge, but I'm always touching up the free edge at the end, like I'm checking and making sure things are nice and pretty. Okay, perfect. We are also like, because the amount of the top coat I have applied and the flowers aren't sticking out. So I'm just gonna cure them and come back to you. Okay, perfect. So that's the first hand cured. So I just take the right hand. And then my top coat did run a little bit in there because I was so slow. So I'm just gonna clean it. And in this video actually, so normally I skip this step like because it's so busy and I need to serve all other clients as well. But I'm gonna show you that even after we finish the nails, the things might not look nice. And before I take a thumbnail picture, I make sure things are nice. So whenever it's necessary, I might touch it up more. Another thing what I do it is always touch up with the file on the sides. Like, I know it's kind of almost doesn't make sense because we usually teach everyone like cap the free edge, and now I'm removing those capped free edge. But no, it doesn't like work that way. It's not gonna chip because this is on the extension, so this is absolutely fine. And then once the top coat cooled down, I would take a wipe, like remove the biggest excess of the dust. Then I send my client to wash their hands. And then we apply the cuticle oil. So normally I don't like to apply the cuticle oil onto the dirty hands, like, you know, when there is dust, because cuticle oil is softening all the skin, and we have done quite excessive work, and we don't want any dust particles like get in there. Okay, so touch up this one. I actually gonna show you because this is quite ugly here. You can see it, how ugly it is. So I'm just touching it up, but when you touch up, you cannot hold your file that way because you will file it away. You're going from more from the underneath, okay? Go from underneath, and then I need to touch up that side as well because I did touch up the other side just to even it out. And then this is absolutely fine to do so. And then very ugly free edge in here. So I touch up. For those of you like, you know, it's just so you guys know, because then sometimes like for those of you especially who watch me for a long time may think like, oh, the thumbnail looks so like the thumbnail picture looks so perfect, and then when I saw her finishing those nails, there was like dry skin or like this wasn't painted properly. So as I say, like once I finish the nails, I would still touch them up, make sure there is no dust particles like underneath, and make sure all the nail folds are nicely moisturized, everything is clean properly, because there is nothing worse actually than sending the clients with the dirty fingers. Now here I've got a tiny bit of the gel polish still, so what I would do it is, because I have touched it up client, that was the dry part, and this nail looks a little bit wider, so I need to taper it from underneath to round it. There we are. And that's already better. And then this one, we need to touch it up as well. It's almost gone, but I will just smooth it out. Another thing which I like to do it, so after they finished and before the clients goes and wash the hands, I was pushing back the cuticles constantly. What I'm doing now is I'm going that way. Okay. And then when you take a picture, things looks much better and nicer. Okay, so we're just going to send the client to wash their hands, and you can see it, the size, the difference in a hand size like was quite decent, but we tried to balance it out quite nicely again for this client. And I hope, guys, you have learned a lot from this video. Sending you huge glittery hacks and looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!